I'm on a date tonight, so I'll have to just looking good to I'll just do it in front of her, shouldn't I?
He's kept going, he's scored! Oh, Stockport pressure. And the header into the back of the net! Henner, superb goal! Johnny did it! Lisa! Rose tries to get the ball in. Wilkinson!
It's a 5-star performance from Stockport County.
All right, we got a small house, but we got a big bloody heart, I tell you.
No late crisis talks about the plumbing needed here, babes. Yes, this is SKP TV, the home of all things pertaining even to Stockport County, Stockport music and Stockport culture. And this specifically is the 42nd thrilling instalment of the show. Yes, every Monday at 8 PM we get together for over an hour, normally an hour and 15 of county chat. I'm Nick. I don't have my horrible man tits out this week. And yes, for those wondering, I did enjoy the Jeopardy on Saturday before the comments get filled with that. And joining us as ever, it is, of course, the finest host this side of the A6. It's Hannah. Hello.
Hi. Was the Jeopardy not wondering? We had this discussion on Saturday, the Jeopardy of wondering whether someone was smiling at you because they'd seen you half naked, or they were just happy to see you. Or
I mean, that was before, or neither. Just smiling because they're mental. It's usually, considering the part of Stockport I was in, it's probably the latter. No, the Jeopardy for me was working out whether I'd make a fool of myself at karaoke on Saturday night, and I think we all know the answer to that, folks.
I did not, but I do have a video that I'll share. If anyone wants to make a donation to Kits for County or the County Community Trust, I have a video of Nick doing karaoke that I will share.
I also have a video of me doing karaoke that you've not seen, where I suddenly think I'm David Bowie. It's a sight to behold. Yeah, wonderful for everybody. Oh, that was good. How are we anyway? How are you?
I'm good. You said Happy Accounts Day. I say Happy Payday. And
John Bilsbury says Happy Greek Street Roundabout Day.
It is, isn't it? And do you know what? I'm really impressed with the way that the community is embracing this closure and preempting it. So someone, I think it was either on Twitter or on Facebook, has gone to the Armoury car park to check accessibility, and I can confirm that the Armoury car park is accessible, so that's good news. So you can get there. Well, limited number of people will be able to get there and park. I found the secret car park king space, singular, down the side of the Nelson.
Very impressed with that on Saturday.
So there is parking around there, and also the other side over by the coroner's court is street parking as well. So you'll have to pay until 6, I'd imagine. Well, that'll be free.
I'll tell you what, any more days like Saturday, and I think a lot of us will be needing the coroner.
Also the B network, £2 apparently. Look, I don't know how that works, but I saw it on the
£2. You just get on the bus, pay £2, and they let you on the bus. Basically,
do you have to pay £2 again when you get back on, or is it like what do they call it on Stagecoach? The Mega Rider? No, that was
that's like a £5. The day rider's like a £5 or something.
What, they still do that?
They still do day riders, yeah. Yeah, and you can get Mega Riders as well. It's all still happening, but you can get them all on your phone now.
They love them shows.
All right, I want to punch someone in the face for speaking French. Won't be doing that again. Right, shall we bang out a bit of admin? Yes, thank you, Mike Elsmore. £2, and it's any bus for an hour. But
oh right, so it would be £4 if you want to go home.
It would be £4, yeah. Oh, one single to terminus, please. That sort of thing.
Yeah, one down the A6.
One down the A6. You can go from Hazel Grove all the way up to Manchester.
Okay,
And
well,
any
either way,
other
I'm not
routes.
getting the bus, let's be honest. So
No, I mean I don't. I have a lovely. I had a lovely walk on Saturday. I had a couple of cocktails, even though it was disgustingly early. I'm not. We'll get onto the early kickoff soon after the admin because I'm still so upset about having to have my going out playlist on at like 10 in the morning and. Ugh.
the weather's going to be very nice tomorrow as well. So you can have your sunny evening walk as well in the golden hour.
Which I will, which I absolutely will, which means that I'll dress accordingly and it'll piss it down now. Right, let's get some administration out of the way. We are, of course, proudly sponsored by Blackbird Kitchen on the pans at Gorilla. And soon to be on the pans, not the pans, the grills, the burger grills at Impossible Manchester with the Blackbird burgers that we discussed last week. Find the links. Just all the social medias there, sorted. Jobs are good and nailed that. This Saturday we are of course away, which can mean only one thing. Jonathan the Jolly Hatter is back with his away day show on Saturday morning between the hours of 9:30 and 11:30. And he was out with us on Saturday, was he not? Yeah.
Yes, I introduced him to the cauliflower, and he was so
Not like just
yeah, just generally as a
stipulate.
vegetable.
Don't mean cauliflower in general. Like he knew what cauliflower is.
Yeah, but Phil Lloyd, mentioning no names, he enjoyed the £8.50 cauliflower so much that he bought his own portion of cauliflower. So I feel vindicated.
Yes. Yeah, quite rightly. It was very good cauliflower, probably the best cauliflower I've ever had. And considering it didn't have cheese, I was delighted with it. Admin. What else, Hannah? Tell me what people should do.
Everyone should obviously like and share and subscribe. That would make me incredibly happy.
Yeah. As long as you're happy, that's all we're here for.
Obviously.
Yeah. Sort that out. Also, in our remit of Stockport County, Stockport music, and Stockport culture, we have got some top Stockport culture content. Me and Will went and did a bit of filming at Stockport Gin on. Was it Thursday? Was it Friday? It was Friday. That'll be coming this week. I did say it'd be out over weekend, but hangovers happen, and I just couldn't. I was just in a darkened room for most of Saturday. I had a little roundabout rave on Saturday night at 2 in the morning, going past the Armory roundabout. I was going to do it as a Facebook event. I was going to be like, let's have a roundabout rave. It was Paul from Stockport Gin who had the idea. It's like, we should do a Facebook event, do like a flash mob thing.
Oh my God.
I didn't get around to it, so I just had a bit of a moment on my own. It's good. Yeah, it was fun for everyone.
Because I realised when I woke up to a text on Sunday morning that was sent at like 3 something, I thought, they really did have a late one, but then I realised that the clocks went forward. So
I forgot about the clocks going forward. I got home, put my pizza in the oven, and I was like, God, it really is late. Like, what time did the pub close? But yeah, that would have been the issue. Time travelled.
Yeah.
Right.
It was very coherent text message there. Congratulations.
Thanks. It didn't feel it. But...
Yeah, I think it was. I've not reread it. I got one of. So, lovely Dan is joining us later. I got one of Dan yesterday that even in the afternoon didn't make as much sense. So, kudos to you.
Heroes, every last one of us. And before we get into the football, tell us what Dan is joining us to be talking abouting.
So one of the things that we'll talk about is this is going to sound like the two are intrinsically linked. They're not, although I have just taken the piss out of him for his T-shirt. So every year the club has to publish their accounts. It's Happy Accounts Day. I've just realised what you meant then. I thought you meant like tax returns and financial year stuff, not Stockport County accounts.
I find it as a compliment that you think I'm grown up enough to understand all that stuff in the first place.
I did wonder whether you had some secret empire that I didn't know about that you needed to file.
Only my meth one.
Okay. So yeah. I just had a flashback.
I'm not going to ask.
No, I'll find a way to get it in later. But basically, I was wondering whether the podcast was making loads of money and you were having to file it on the side. And then I remembered that on Saturday night, someone asked me if the podcast was OnlyFans. And then I was like going into like tax returns and whether that was the whole kind of lateral lateral thinking. Anyway, there's a first for everything on Saturday night. But to go back to Stockport County's account, they have been published today. Kieran Maguire has already had a poke around. We're not special. He does it to everyone. Yeah. And one of the things that Simon Wilson talks about in his kind of commentary was published on their website at 7:00. Just
nice of them.
Perfect timing for this. Is talking about, the amount that the county and the community does. So on Saturday, Kickstart, which is a program that we've talked about a lot on a Monday because of its intervention into our Monday night transfer deadline shenanigans and all sorts of other things. That came to its epic conclusion on Saturday with Parkrun. So Dan Moult, he's taken part in it from the beginning to the end. So he's going to come and talk to us about kind of that type of scheme and how it works from a logistical point of view in terms of it all happening around the club and what the benefits of a program like that, both for him and for the club and the community.
We were actually going to have Dan and another person who went on that run, but she is out with someone who she met on the run.
Yeah.
So that just goes to, we don't need Dan. It just goes to show that it works. Done. Nailed it. Make
friends. But yeah, it's something that I would have loved to have done. But it being on a Monday night, unfortunately, I wasn't able to.
I'd have been all over it if it wasn't a Monday. I'll tell you what else I'm all over. I am all over some chat about Saturday's game, which we'll get into after this. So before we even get on to the game, there was a bit of upheaval in the pop side, or the plop side, as it's now been christened. That apparently, I've seen people saying that people at the club have said, "Oh, we didn't know it was an issue." But as we discussed the other week with the top affluence and effluence chat, there was a river of what I'll only describe as discharge the other week. So
I don't know anything other than kind of being able to state the facts. So the club knew that there was an issue at the latest late morning on Saturday. There were significant queues again, but largely because there was a tractor. So they were trying to get a tractor into the back of the pop side. I don't fully know for what, but that was blocking turnstiles. So they couldn't use all the turnstiles at the beginning. So that was causing queues. So got the tractor out of the way with the intention of getting everyone in and then sending the tractor in later. So by the end of the game, so the toilets on the far side. So if the away fans had been in the railway end, it would have been less of an issue because we would have still been able to have 2 blocks of toilets. It would have been busy. The dogs just appeared at the window like a little meerkat. So it would have been better. But as it was, and when you walked in, there was it was clear sewage, shall we say, or clear.
Oh, good.
Like there was no toilet paper that I could see, so that was an improvement. But what they did then was, once everyone was in, the people that were sat very near to it, they relocated them into the railway end. But no, there were no toilets. So anyone who needed the loo had to go out to the courtyard, which you can imagine the halftime scenes. I think there was let's go back to how it was back in the day when everyone used to just go for a wee up the back of the pop side.
Good old days before
the family stand. So that was Saturday. So do you know what? I'd be really interested to know how it affected their food and beverage sales on Saturday, because everyone I spoke to was like, I'm not having a drink. The people who go for a drink beforehand, go, the blokes that sit near me that go 5 minutes before half time and have a pint or two, like, no, can't risk it. Don't want to have to trek all the way back out there.
I don't think it would have stopped me, to be honest.
Oh, really?
I don't know. When I'm in the mood, when I know it's a drinking day, I fully committed to it on Saturday, and I think I would have done the same even if I was sat there.
Apparently they were sending some people into the Cheadle end as well. I don't know how that worked.
They were. It was very. Yeah. Will said he went to use the Cheadle end toilets, and there was basically nothing stopping you from just staying in the Cheadle end. Essentially, they weren't like. Well, obviously, they're not going to escort people to the toilets. And then we obviously had the referee having a conversation before the game. So the game kicked off about 5 or 6 minutes late. Because the referee was having a conversation, which must have been a fascinating conversation. So, like, as a referee, you mustn't be expecting to be having that sort of conversation. But apparently, the game was close to being called off.
Yeah, although I don't really understand that because logistically, although
health and safety, innit?
A lifelong pop cider, but you just shut the stand, surely.
But where do the people go? That's the problem because
they don't go. But don't cancel an entire game just for a few thousand people. Nice that were. But you know what? I felt so sorry for Olivia. Was like herring around on Saturday. She's doing such a it must have been an incredibly tough day for so many people on Saturday, and they did a great job. So could have. I don't think they could have handled it better or differently, save for, what's happened between the last home game and this home game.
Yeah. I did enjoy at half time when I was out in the courtyard. I was the smoking section, the smoking/vaping section is right next to where the tractor was parked.
Right.
And Rick Hinks was there with like supervising the use of the tractor and whatever it had attached to the back of it, making noises and stuff. And a couple of people came over and went, "Oh, you can't park there, mate." And it was funny. The first couple of times were funny. And then when we're getting to the point of the second half beginning and people are still coming over and, "Hey, you can't park that there, mate," you just lose it. And that wasn't the only weird thing about that, because at that point you could hear Kenny Boxall and followed by Steve Bellis on the mic, and there was some weird noises coming through. I don't know if it was like
the tannoy wasn't working in the pop side either. So
you're lucky, because there was like you could hear booze. It was like
really?
It was like saying, welcome to, and it was the name of some child, and it was like their first ever game, and he was giving a shout out to him. And in the background, all you could hear was boo. I was like, bloody hell, the main stand have got really angry. I was like, a child coming to the. It was so weird. It was like disembodied voices in the background. I don't know what had happened. It was so odd. Yeah, really, really weird. So that was odd. And then we get on to the actual game. We get to the actual game. The visit of Bertie and Albion, as they were named on the programme. Fantastic.
With the county player Jack Diamond.
Yeah. No D. Oh, every bloody week. So we've had this. There's been a lot of talk about how it must be hard for players to get themselves up for like an early kickoff. And first 7 minutes, we go 1-0 up to completely dominate it, and you think, well, it's obviously not a thing then. And then I don't know what happened. Like we go a goal up. I was saying at the time, these are one of the worst teams we've played in a long time. They're absolutely terrible. Tanto gets denied by the keeper with his second chance, a very good save. And then after that, it was like we forgot what we were meant to be. I don't understand. It was very weird.
They've got some speed. I mean, obviously they're a very different team.
Yeah.
Personnel wise to the team we played last year, which, there was literally nothing positive that you could say about them. Godwin Malife, who is the guy, have you ever seen his John Legend's initiation song when he joined Swindon? That's who he will always be for me. But he was a completely different player as well. But it was the speed that they had on the counter, and we just didn't seem to know what to do with it. But yeah, I mean, we didn't play well. We won. It won't always be pretty. but that at 88 minutes when their first goal went in, like they knew that they had another goal in them.
What a goal that was, by the way.
Yeah, but it was, you know.
Well, I mean, we played better than that last week and lost. So for all the discussion over the last week or so about winning ugly and how good Wrexham are at winning ugly, I think people have lost sight of the fact that we're very good at winning ugly as well. There's been a number of, particularly since Christmas, there's been occasions where we've picked up a win despite not being anywhere near at our best. And at this time of the year, we're going to see a lot of that. I didn't see much disgruntlement. I was going up at tier 4 for a change on Saturday, and apart from the usual forward constantly, and deciding player once again, just people deciding that a player is shit if they make one mistake. Oh shit!
There's quite a lot of forwarding from in the pop side on Saturday, and it made me laugh because it was almost immediately followed by a player playing it forward under pressure, and was immediately losing the ball. So it was.
I mean, a shout out to Corey Adai. I think it's a great save in the first half, and then second half from a free kick that they had. One of 2 identical free kicks they won, which we'll get onto. But the pleasing thing for me was seeing him actually parry it out of danger. Like earlier in the season, he was just parrying it into the box, and we normally concede from it. But I think we've said it like the last few weeks. He's clearly been watching Ben. He's quite clearly improved his game and learned. And we're at a point now where he can't be making these mistakes. So that was nice. And
in his interview last week, he talks about how he seems a very intelligent young man, in that he recognizes that the fan base have been very used to Ben, who's been the incumbent for however long, and his style of play is quite, and it makes people nervy. I was like, has he been watching the podcast? But yeah, I think he realizes that he's just got a very different style, and there is room for different styles of play. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it's nice to. It's just nice to see that, because it did seem like his head dropped earlier in the season, and he's kind of reflected on everything, and he's improving for it, which is very nice. The halftime sub was a weird one. I was late coming back to my seat because I was enjoying my pint, and then I was like, I saw that Horsfall had come on. I was like, oh, is he? I assumed it was Connolly because he picked up a bit of a knock in the first half.
That would have made sense.
I was like, look, Wotton's not on. And after that, it's certainly one in the eye for the I can't stand Kyle Wotton because I don't understand football brigade, because we just had no. Canto did a decent job on his own, considering that's not really his game. But we certainly missed Kyle Wotton. But yeah, it was a tactical change, and it very nearly backfired.
Yeah, I don't know whether we said a few weeks ago that Kyle Wotton's had played a lot this season, and opportunities to rest him, like Brad Hill's having a rest, like Ethan Pye. I mean, obviously Brad Hill's hasn't played nearly as much, but Ethan Pye particularly, and I know we'll get on to that, but I don't think it's a bad thing that he's got tomorrow night off. Obviously better to have him, but given Stevenage's form at the moment, it's not a bad one for us to be without him. Fraser's got some more minutes under his belt. Yeah. Nick Powell's back to save the day, and as Dan put in the comments, so Gary Bowyer said in his interview the difference was we could bring on £7 million.
See, where's the cut-off point for that? I noticed that in his interview. I was like, well, no, he wants cost £7 million. Yeah, but not recently. It's not like we're the ones who've paid £7 million. It's like I'm trying to think of an example now. Like when we signed, when like George Best played for us, they didn't go on about how much he used to get paid at United. Yeah. But it's like, it's just really, it's like, yes, he was a £7 million player once, but over a decade ago. You can't do that.
And now he's made of Pringles.
And now he's made of Pringles. And he there was that moment that we'll never get to see again because weirdly they didn't put it in the highlights where I don't know what happened, but it was funny. He just seemed to, and I saw people on one of the message boards say, "Oh, that was embarrassing when he dived to try and win a free kick." I was like, "No, he didn't dive. He just fell over. He just fell over his own feet." Which, to be fair, he's done that once in the couple of years we've had him. I'd have been doing that multiple times a game if I was playing for us. So fair play.
Was that the one that he then managed to touch the ball twice from a lying position on the pitch?
Oh, I don't know. I was drinking heavily,
that was impressive.
But he got about the pitch very well, Nick. For someone who's just been out with a long-term serious injury, he got about very well. There was not a lot being created in that second half, really. I think it was for all the talk of the Wootton sub being a weird one, the Jack Diamond sub. Jack Diamond's still a player I can't fully make my mind up on because
I'm so invested in him. Every time, same with Tante to a certain extent. It's almost like a maternal, but go for, run Forest run type.
Yeah.
Screaming and that pass to Tanto. We'd said, hadn't we, against Wrexham that he'd go on these great runs and then it was almost like he doesn't have brilliant kind of peripheral vision or that footballing brain that we talk about Nick Powell having. But you saw him, he had the time to look up, look to see, and he flung that ball across perfectly and placed it. It's yeah.
After 9,000 people screaming at him to pass it, though. I wonder if we'd not said it, if that was behind closed doors, would he have noticed it?
Yeah. So I think he's one of those players that Callum Connolly. I know again, not the same, but Callum Connolly wasn't anyone's cup of tea in November. And then by January or December, he was winning fans player of the month and, is now, won the first on the team sheet. I think in time, Jack Diamond will get there.
Well, we're at that time of the season now where we could really do with some players stepping up. And another one of those is our mate Jezzy Fevs. At the start of the season, he had a couple of cameos off the bench, looked very good. Obviously, had the injury. And we've done exactly what I hoped we wouldn't do, even though it's been out of necessity rather than a choice. Play him at right wing back. For the squad number issue that I'm not going to bore anyone to death with, but also the fact I don't think his defensive position is good enough, especially when we come up against better teams. But I want to see him. He's very good on both feet. I want to see him running at defenders and them not knowing whether he's going to cut inside or go on the outside, get to the byline. And then I was just left with this. I wouldn't say he was anonymous on Saturday. I'd say he was probably a 6 out of 10. It's not like he had a terrible game or anything, but he didn't really stand out. And when he got subbed, I was just left with this thing of, oh, we're not going to see you for about a month now. I was seeing about a month's time, Jezzy Fevs. I'd expect it to probably be Diamond at right wing back tomorrow night. And then February off the bench again. It's we need some of these players to start getting a run of games. But I suppose it's if they're not putting the performances in, they're not going to get a run of games. But at the same time, if they're not getting a run of games, are they going to be able to put the performances in? Diamond got a bit of a run of games a few weeks ago, and his performances picked up, and then inexplicably, that's why I'm worried that's going to happen with February because Diamond just disappeared off the face of the earth for a few weeks after that.
But we see 90 minutes. In a week, we don't see what's
sometimes I don't even see that.
And conditioning and stuff that's off the pitch and conversations around anything else. So it's really hard to tell, isn't it?
And we obviously very late on we had the Ethan Pye red card that shades of Chris Kamara with Jeff Stelling, and I don't know, Jeff, has he? I saw him limping off and thought he was injured.
My dad asked who'd come on for him.
There we go. No one. Because looking back at the highlights before, I noticed because for some reason the Sky Sports highlights didn't feature that. That wasn't featured on the Sky Sports highlights at all. It was on County's highlights, and yeah, everyone's crowded around the ref as it happens, so you can understand why people miss it. But the same as it was, because he got booked for exactly that same foul earlier in the half when Adai made the save from the free kick. But it was one he had to take one for the team on both occasions because no one else seemed asked about putting a challenge in. And one of the certainly with the second instance of that happening, Torre was the man who didn't put a challenge in, and he got mentioned by name in Charlie's interview after the game. Which always interesting when that happens.
After Wrexham, you can see, like, although there was a very similar incident at the railway end where he was outside the box, but almost exactly the same, and it wasn't a penalty. Well, obviously it wasn't a penalty then because it wasn't in the box, but it wasn't a penalty either, as we now know from the epic PGMOL apology.
Yeah, just when I thought, for all I said last week about being tired of the endless Wrexham and County sniping on Twitter, it started up again on Friday with the confirmation that we'd had one of the famous apology letters, and then it started up again today with the accounts thing. Right.
So I got a text message this afternoon. Hang on, and it just said, "Buying the league, is it?" I said, "At least we succeeded at buying the league. We bought second place. It was cheaper." I was like, "Yeah, that's cool."
but they're not bothered though. They're not bothered.
No,
no one's bothered. No one's bothered. Anything else on Bertie and Albion?
No, I don't think so. Let's move on.
Well, should we get our? Do you want a random county non-league goal of the week first, and then get a guest out, or should we? Yeah, we've got a Sam Walker free kick. Not the one against Spennymoor, even though this is accidental. This is against Ebbsfleet from 2019.
Challenge, but Adeloy's ended up in row A. Oh, foul this time. County got a free kick. Well, they found it difficult to find a way through from open play. Is it going to be a set piece, Chris, that unhinges this United defence finally? So Sam Walker to take. It's a little short, but there's a chance! It didn't take a touch. It's gone straight in from Sam Walker. Nobody touched the ball, and Jim Gannon's saying to his players, "Stop celebrating, get on with it. It's 1-1.
Go and win the game now." Well, Sam Walker's floated the free kick over, and it's one of those, John. It reminds me of, I want to say, Spennymoor last season, where he's taken the free kick, and it's just not taken a touch, and it's just bounced in that uncertain corridor, and
the National League.
I got distracted today whilst arguing with the nameless Wrexham fan. Did you know that you can go on the FA's website and you can see all of the FA charges that have been brought against players, staff? One National League North team in February has their medical practitioner, or their medic that comes, I don't know whether they were I don't think they were a physio, I think they were the nominated medic, didn't have a medical qualification and didn't have the trauma certificate that you're supposed to have, and they've been banned from taking part in footballing activities until 2033.
Yeah, because that's just an accident waiting to happen. That's just a big catastrophic event waiting to happen.
Dangerous. But you can go through. I mean, a lot of them are, managers swearing at officials, as you'd expect. But there are some really interesting ones. In that one, the team wasn't named and the medic wasn't named. But
that's excellent.
If you want to lose some time in geekery, then I quite enjoyed it.
I think I might do. It'll be a nice break from looking at those lists of how people died in the old days. That's my current pastime.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll discuss that next week.
Yeah, sounds fun.
It's that type of podcast. Right, should we get our guest out?
Yes.
Let's do it. It's Dan the running man.
Hello, how we doing?
Yes, thank you.
Better now we've done the therapy side of it. Once you get Saturday out of the way, you can breathe on it, I think, after that.
Enjoy it a bit more. Well, first of all, Hannah, what waste of money? I mean, that is just pure quality.
You've single-handedly brought Stockport County's accounts. Oh no, do you know what? It's 2025, isn't it? It won't even show on the accounts until
we won't see that until next year.
No.
Yeah. Then I'll be bitching about all the amazing things that they've done in the community and how much it's cost.
Indeed.
Terrible.
So
right, I've got questions.
Go for it.
So how long was, tell us about the Kickstart program, how long it was, how you found out about it, and just kind of
it was probably early to mid-January. I saw something on the county website saying about the community trust with Vitality are putting on this program. Is anyone interested in kickstarting their new year, getting healthy? I may have got the date a bit wrong there, but that's from what I remember it. And it said, obviously, we're building up your fitness to go and do a 5K run at the end of it. I've always fancied doing a park run. In fact, I signed up initially for park run probably about 8 years ago, or however long it might be, many years ago. Never actually done one, but I've always had my barcode ready for the moment that it was coming. I knew it was coming someday. Every year I said, this is going to be the year, and it never actually happened, but lo and behold,
it tattooed in 3 places, so you can be like, look, I'm a partner.
That's it. So so I signed up for it. You had to give sort of why you wanted to do it and what was your sort of your reasonings for signing up. As well, as you know, or a lot of people know, March last year I had a gastric sleeve and I'd lost sort of 8 stone. So I was ready for sort of the next stage of getting my fitness back. I'd say back. I haven't really ever had it. I don't know. But for doing some kind of fitness. So yeah, that was it. Didn't hear anything for ages, and I thought, oh, I've not been accepted. You know, I even hammed up my gastric sleeve, played that card and everything. I thought, oh, I'm a shoo in here. And but anyway, no, I did get an email, and that was it. So yeah, it was a 10-week course. We met every Monday at Edgeley Park in the community room at 6. It was 6 till 7. And it's basically a couch to 5K kind of thing, but it's led by an instructor. So there's a group of us. We were all met. We were all given a snazzy t-shirt as the first week and a bag with a hat in and other goodies. As a reasoning for keep coming up, they give you a little treats every so often. So we were given a Garmin watch at one point.
This is what I need. This is the sort of thing that's going to make me do something.
I know, right?
A Garmin watch. We had 2 Coffee Nero vouchers, a £20 voucher for Waitrose, a cinema ticket. I know, yeah.
This is what I need. I'm all about the carrot, less the stick.
Yeah,
it does
we're
work.
carrot guys here.
So yeah, every week we'd turn up, they'd say a little bit of what we're going to do today. We'd go down whilst walking from Edgeley Park to the park in Edgeley, is it Alexander Park, around a little lake.
Yeah.
And we just started from there. I think the first time was 5-minute run, 2-minute walk, 5-minute run. And it built up to the last session, which was just a 25-minute run, do as much as you can.
Wow.
And everyone was great. Everyone really enjoyed it. Like you say, you mentioned on to Nick tonight, Nick, that people have got great friends from it now, and they're out running now. Some are out running tonight together, and they want to keep it going. So yeah, it's been really good.
And was everyone a beginner? Was there, because the thing that would worry me about turning out to something like that is that I, as a complete non-runner, I'd be instantly out of my depth.
Yeah, so I think it was a bit mixed, to be honest. A lot of people were running for the first time. There was people that were coming back into running. The levels were completely mixed. There was people that were, going round sort of lapping you, that you wanted to trip up every time they came past you. But no, the majority, it was first time running, and I think everyone was really proud on Saturday when we finally did the park run, and I think everyone who went to take part completed it. So it was really good.
That's amazing. Was there a point on, because obviously you do the hospitality and what have you on a match day. Was there a point during the run on Saturday morning where you were absolutely sickened at the fact that you'd have to be at Edgeley Park at a ridiculously early time? Sky don't think about this.
It played on my mind, and not just my mind, a few other minds that were all season ticket holders. But I think I got it worse because I was part running at 9 and then met a bit at county at 10 to have a start my 3-course meal experience.
Yeah.
But luckily the food was late and we got there in time for our stars, so it was great. But yeah, it was played on people's mind. Unfortunately, it was just one of the games that got moved to an early kickoff. None of them are ever going to be, not an inconvenience, is it? So it was just unfortunate it was that, but we did it, got there, and it was all good. I do want to say, though, quick thank you to Dave Wardle from the Community Trust and Sinead, who I think is from the Community Trust as well, and the coach Haley, who ran the sessions. They did a really good job, so I do want to put it out there. A big thank you to them.
It's really cool because the community stuff is something that the club's always been known for, and that's genuinely one of the most pleasing things about life after the takeover for me, is that not only it would have been so easy for Stott and Co to just do exactly what they've always been doing, but he's properly like souped it all up, the whole community side of it. He's just sort of like, do what we're doing now, but go bigger with it, which is amazing.
That's it. I mean, you have to look at his kits for the community, is it? And the kits for the school children that he's done an absolutely amazing fundraising job for. That's big in his plans to help the community out. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, there's also at the Produce Hall on Friday night, Party with a Purpose, which is entirely to raise money for Kits by County. And there's like Vernon Bear there, there's pizza.
Well, you say it's Vernon Bear there. On the posters, is in inverted commas, it's Vernon Bear. It's like, oh, the so-called Vernon Bear. Like, no, he's Vernon Bear. Call him Vernon Bear.
Do you know what? While we're on this, my sister is a sister. Well, she was, and I was. But Charlotte and Sophie are in Vernon House at school because they've got the different houses. And,
when you said she was, I thought you meant she was my sister, but now she's not.
I know. No, she was also in Vernon. But Charlotte had to design a new mascot for Vernon, and she didn't go with a bear. Do you know what she went with instead? A shark.
Wow. That'd be last on my list.
Literally. And she won the bloody competition. So now it's Vernon the Shark or whatever it's called. Yeah.
That's upsetting.
It's bloody...
Not as upsetting...
A very intense history lesson.
Not as upsetting as when people call him Vernon the Bear. Even though his name is Vernon. It's Vernon Bear.
The bear. I know it's...
Do you?
Yeah, it's just habit. Yeah.
I'm really upset now.
Sorry. I'll try to rein it in.
If I ever hear you calling him Vernon the Bear, I'm going to scream.
But there's so much from my childhood that I've kind of continued with. So until 2 or 3 seasons ago, the scarf, I would say they call us white and blue, not the colours white and blue. Because it kind of does make sense.
Do you also sing I wore the scarf around my neck?
No, I used to.
Thank God for that.
I've learned the error of my ways. But yeah, it's just like when you've been saying Vernon the Bear since you were 10 and you're not anymore.
These things stick with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you're just 10 mentally.
Yeah, not even. Dan, will you be doing Park Run every week now?
No, certainly not every week. I mean, I think the tricky thing was that Woodbank Park is notoriously a tricky park
is
run.
it?
It's notoriously hilly. Even the mega runners that were off and running, you could see them walking up the steepest part.
Oh, really?
It was really bad. So I may go for Woodbank's right near my house, so that was handy. But I may do that again as a challenge. But yeah, I'd like to do one of the flatter ones.
Find a flatter one. Let me know.
Yeah, I think Bramall Park's fairly flat. I think their park run. But yeah, no, I'm definitely planning to do it maybe once a month, maybe a bit more through the summer. We'll see.
We've got a lot of Park Run fans in the chat. Phil Lloyd says he did his 50th on Saturday. Well done, Phil, because Phil looked quite well when we saw him after the game. He didn't look like he wanted to die. So maybe it just goes to show that park runs are great and they will make you feel good about yourself. Jonathan the Geordie Hatter said he got to 100 park runs and suddenly stopped. He don't think he'd realised the extent to which he was motivated entirely by the t-shirts. I think
No,
I get
that. I get that. Yeah.
I mean, not t-shirts, but the Garmin and the what's it? The voucher for Waitrose. I'd be in just for that. Some recommendations for a flatter one. Stretford, suggested by Phil Lloyd, and Jonathan has suggested Bramall Park. A couple of hills, but nothing like Woodbank. There we go.
Good. I'll bear that in mind, definitely.
What community
I'll bear
there
it in mind
banded
for
together?
when I never do one.
I think I'm worried though that it's the same reason I've not tried heroin, because I'm really worried that I'd get really into it and then that would become my whole personality. That's my issue.
I've tried Couch to 5K a few times. I've tried there's a zombie one as well, where you're running away from the zombies. I've tried the Peloton one.
I've done the zombie one. Yeah.
Because Peloton, I've got a Peloton treadmill. And I do really well up to about week 3, and then something happens and I miss a week, and then it all goes to shit.
Yeah, that's how they get.
But maybe I'll try that as well in terms of like
a couple of other things I forgot to mention about the thing that we did. They brought a player in for one of the final weeks to give us a bit of a boost. It was Ethan Pye came. We've got to ask him some questions about, what motivates him and his fitness. It was just after the Wrexham game. We were told no footballing questions, which was quite annoying.
Well, maybe if he'd been training instead of gabbing on Monday, he might have learnt to time a tackle correctly on Saturday. Bang, done.
That's it. And also tomorrow night we're celebrating our success on the pitch at half time. So you'll see us then.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, I thought you were saying like for the second half. One of you might get brought on. We might have an inexplicable second half sub again.
That's very exciting. Do you get a park run medal? Can you you're going to walk around with your certificate?
No, you don't get a park run medal now.
Right, I'm out.
I got an email with a time on, so that's.
There we go. Think of the accounts, Hannah.
I know, but I think it's worth saying as well that this was heavily supported by Vitality. I'm being very glib in that I don't for a second expect that the club will have. They've got such brilliant commercial relationships with local companies that that I'm sure that the Garmins were donated or heavily subsidized. Well, Vitality, I have Vitality Healthcare. And they have a scheme where you can get a Garmin really, really cheap, and then if you keep being active, you can get a Cafe Nero voucher, you can get a Waitrose voucher, you can get a cinema voucher. Yeah. See, it's all coming together.
We got all the leftovers from the people who never did it. So,
obviously. So we're being very flippant about it, but it's incredible that it
was a good experience. I recommend it to anyone. I believe they'll be doing it again. So
I'm getting on it next time. If it's 6 till 7 on a Monday, I can get back home in time to do this at 8. I could run back.
That's it. When you need
Do you know what though? I'm one of those people that if I do a bit of exercise, I'll be the colour of Dan's t-shirt half an hour later when I got home. So I don't know whether that's something that I want to commit to.
Yeah. Why is Nick doing a podcast with a raspberry? What's going on there? Why's Brian Clough on?
It would be like when we did the podcast after Wembley, when I'd been stood in the sun all day and was the colour of Dan's t-shirt. Yeah. Playoffs, they're fun, aren't they? Let's not do that again.
No, we'll get onto that shortly. Upsettingly. Oh God! Right, Dan, thank you so much for joining us, mate. We really appreciate it.
And really enjoyed it.
Hopefully, this won't be the last time because maybe we can chronicle it together the next time they do one. Will you be doing it if they do it again?
I don't know whether you can. Well, I think you can join in if you've done it. Some of the people who did it last year joined in, but I don't think you can actually do the full. course again.
I
You
didn't
might be able
realise it
to,
wasn't
but
the first
I'm pretty
time
sure
they did
you.
it.
Yeah, I think no. This is the second time.
Ah,
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Um,
nothing to stop you. I mean, it's public property, so there's nothing to stop you doing the run.
Well,
That's how I
it.
got my Olympic gold medal. So
So people were joining in who'd done it before. They
Yeah.
just weren't officially members of this
Right.
year's run. They
you're
never
not
got
having a T-shirt.
Yeah, they couldn't get a T-shirt and a coffee voucher. None of that.
Oh, that's the main thing.
Right,
well,
hope you
we'll,
do, guys. Thank you.
we'll all wave and clap very loudly tomorrow night.
Make sure you do.
We will do.
You'll see me run on and then run off with me pudding at half time.
I want
Yeah.
like, oh yeah.
Putting the running into great use. Yeah, fantastic. Right, cheers, Dan. We'll speak to you soon.
Thank
We'll
you.
look out for you on the pitch
Thank
tomorrow.
you.
Cheers. See you again.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
There we go. Community, culture.
It's so lovely. I'm having my kind of annual, like, oh, I want to be a runner. I want to go running.
Same.
It'll pass.
I've started really getting a hankering after like playing football again because I'm thinking maybe I could finally learn to be good in the air. Maybe that's it.
I quite like the idea of that walking football that they do, but
Oh,
I'm
God,
too
yeah.
young for it.
Oh no, there's one that was like they did one not long ago that was like 35 and over, but I was 34 at the time, so I was waiting. And then by the time I
other
turned
one-
35, they'd stopped.
No. Yeah, I do think that I'd like to be a runner. Maybe now with my, like Dan, lose a load of weight and decide
Yeah.
that it's kind of part and parcel.
All I need is some headphones that don't slip out when my ears get sweaty. Once I've got them, I'm sorted.
I've got those ones that all the county players have got, you know, the AirPod Max ones, which are like ridiculously over the ear, but then I worry about them getting sweaty. I'm not sure I'd like to run in them.
Sweaty ears.
Like this is like first world problems. Obviously.
No one was expecting sweaty ears to come up today. Or it might even make it into the episode title. You never know.
Shall we talk about Stevenage?
Yeah,
And
talk to me about Stevenage and
probably
Exeter, I suppose.
Exeter. Meh.
Again, it's just evidence of, once again, I saw a tweet today. Actually, I should have shared it. A tweet saying basically we've got I think that someone's worked out percentage chance of a win in all the games for all like the top 8 or 9, and that we've got by far the easiest running. But that's easier said than it's quite easy to say that. Quite easy to say, oh, they've got an easy run in. But as we know, when teams are fighting for their lives and trying to sort themselves out and changing manager as well, anything could happen.
Yeah, and you know that, like I said to you, and you've pinned it in our little chat, that we've got when at the time it was like 11, 12, 13, 14 or something like that. And they've got nothing to play for. They're really not in playoff contention. They're not in relegation. They're just kind of are what they are.
Yeah.
And Stevenage fall into that category, but have in the last 10, they've only had 2 wins. Like it felt like a slog when we played Stevenage at theirs. But they really are on a downwards turn. They beat Cambridge, they beat Shrewsbury, but lost to Leyton Orient, to Birmingham, to Huddersfield, to Burton, to Crawley. Crawley have pulled some weird. I mean, I know they've got Scott Lindsay now, but 4-0
That's so weird.
Rotherham on Saturday, which was the final nail in Steve Evans's coffin. Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see how we go. I think tomorrow. I think it'll be. Well, I would have after Saturday. I would like to have said, home advantage. We do tend to do a bit better, but now I'm second guessing that.
I mean, I'm struggling to even get too worked up about it, given that I didn't know we were playing until Friday.
Well, same. So I've gone back to and the bloke that sits next to me cannot get his head around this at all, but it's just normal by this time of the season. So I quite often bet against us because it stops me. It becomes like win-win. So if we win, I'm quite happy to have lost my £5 stake.
Yeah.
If we lose, then I can pay for my trauma McDonald's on the way home or my comfort eating takeaway. And I get a draw is often obviously the worst outcome because no one gets anything. Least of all me. And so I didn't do it against Wrexham, but I did do it on Saturday and I will do it again tomorrow night. So I'll just keep losing money quite happily and that will secure the win. So that's fine.
Did you feel... I don't know how to describe it, but the atmosphere on Saturday, I don't know if it's the early kickoff, but it was very strange. I was in the Cheadle and I could hear Yellow Block more than I could hear, and it doesn't seem like people are in the singing section and the drums seem to be a lot further away this time. I don't know if they've moved or not, but it just, I've seen someone suggest that it's almost like we've got nothing to play for. It's almost like we know we're finishing mid-table or something. That's sort of how it feels a bit, like atmosphere-wise. It feels like the type of atmosphere that you get then when your season's basically over in March, April. Yeah. But there's still plenty to play for.
It felt kind of quiet. We texted on Saturday and I was like, I'm bored. We've started talking about things that aren't related to football in our little kind of section. I completely lost interest and tuned out at times. There was a plane went over. I should have asked you with your flight tracker app. Didn't know from the tail which airline it was.
I had to delete the app, didn't I, after deadline day because I didn't like the person I was becoming.
Yeah, but that's like when you're plane spotting, you know that it's bad. And I've not done that this season yet, but I just completely zoned out. And of course, when someone tells you can't go to the toilet, that's all you can think about.
Yes, of course, yeah. I'm not out with anything. If I'm told I can't have something or can't do something, it just makes me want it even more. Yeah, that's just a fact of life. Yeah, absolutely. Something's taboo. That's it. That's me. I start obsessing. In terms of changes tomorrow night, obviously we've got the enforced one. Much like after Hills got sent off against Wrexham, it was like, well, if needs be, Horsfall can come straight in. Obviously didn't go with that in the end, but now Pye's out, you think, well, you'd imagine that would be Hills in, or I was going to say possibly we could end up with Torre at left centre back in a 3, and then end up with Diamond at left wing back as he was in the latter stages against Wrexham. Anything could happen. I won't be surprised to see some rotation, see some strange. Maybe we'll see Sam Cosgrove, the lesser spotted Sam Cosgrove. Maybe he'll emerge again, or Hamilton.
Well, Hamilton was on the bench on Saturday, wasn't he?
He was,
on account of the missing Odin Bailey.
I did hear a whisper. It might be bollocks. Probably is, to be fair. But I heard someone saying that apparently... Yeah, right?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just shaking my head. I was going to say that.
I don't know, but it's gone really weird now.
Yeah, it has gone weird. I'll quickly recover. Brad Hills might go on the right, like he did at Wrexham.
He could well. I'm all thrown off now. Because I was about to say something that I should probably not allowed to say. That I didn't know you knew.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway,
I hit the dusty trail.
Yeah. So Exeter. Speaking of dusty, I've got tickets on Saturday. How will I get there? I don't know. I don't actually know.
Have you genuinely not decided how you're getting there yet?
No. Well, I mean, I'll drive. But originally we were going to go on the Friday night. The Lionesses are playing at home at Bristol, so that was kind of a nice thing.
Oh yeah.
Sophie and Charlotte don't want to go. It's my mum's birthday. There's a whole and then I've got to find somewhere for the dog to go. There's a whole thing. At the
There's a lot
moment,
of faffing.
if someone gave me a really good reason not to go, I'd be like, yeah, done. But then I'll get the whole, well, I've not missed an away game this season that I could have gone to. So, yeah.
The energy's changed now since I nearly said something I shouldn't.
Well, you say a lot of things that you shouldn't every week, and
yeah, but you don't normally sit there shaking your head at me. It's weird.
It was just like I was just, you know, sit here and shaking. Like, yeah. So Exeter are where are Exeter? So across 10 games, they're midest of the mid-table. They lost 2-0 to Wrexham on Saturday. Wrexham got another penalty.
A controversial one, apparently.
Yeah. And
I've not watched because I'm not that invested in them.
No. But it was amazing as well because we were the early kickoff. How many people, again, from that area of the world were watching our game.
Imagine that. Though. I didn't really want to watch us at 12:30 on Saturday, so I don't understand why.
Yeah,
oh, no,
but they beat Shrewsbury, they beat Mansfield, they beat Cambridge in the last 10, but lost Wrexham, lost to Charlton, lost to Stevenage.
It should tell you away
they
win.
are middling, I think. Did we beat them 2-0 when they came up to us?
Yes, I think
it was an early kickoff, wasn't it?
It was fairly early on. It may have been. I've slept since then. I've both slept and drank since then.
Let me see. Stockport County, Saturday the 7th of December. Yes.
I thought it was earlier than that for some reason. Yes, I remember that now. Yeah. I think it was an early kickoff actually. Yeah, so, yeah. I will still never be okay with 12:30 on a Saturday kickoff. Just never. Because I know we had plans to go out after the game on Saturday, but can you just imagine if we'd not won and then having to go out after? I know people say, "Oh, you can drown your sorrows." It's like, no, but you don't want to. You want to go out on a high, and we did.
My dad said to me at half-time, like, how long are you going out for? It's like, very depends on the second half.
Yeah.
Because, could have been, mind you, I wasn't home late, was I? It was like 11ish, I think, when I got home. So
that's late as far as I'm concerned.
But it's late when you don't drink and you've been out since whatever time it was, 3 o'clock or whenever we got down to the produce hall. So yeah. So no Millie Alley now.
Yes, having a terrible time of it at Luton, as everyone involved with Luton is, really.
But otherwise, yeah, I don't know. I just feel a bit meh about them. They're very much, again, like Stevenage, just kind of middle of the league, not really much to play for. Maybe that's...
I'm just genuinely feeling zen about the prospect of promotion now, because if we don't go up, then there's a possibility we'll get to renew acquaintances with both Bradford and Grimsby for starters, who are both
but in League Two. Well, I quite like Grimsby because Dave Artell's there, and he's...
I like Alex, the podcaster.
Yeah, that's true. And their mascot's good as well. And my friend Jack, the hooligan, is a Grimsby fan. So that will be fun. But, no one wants to win the league in League Two this season. It's the same. Bradford lost on Saturday. Swindon are kind of doing considerably better, but lost to Morecambe at the weekend. Carlisle are as good as down. It's all very exciting, but at the same time, very League Two-y.
Yeah, it doesn't feel it doesn't feel that exciting. I know it sounds mental considering we're well in the promotion shake-up here, but at the same time, you've got Birmingham. I am shocked and quite frankly quite appalled that Birmingham haven't sealed promotion yet.
Yeah, I mean they're on 86 points.
They seem to win every week.
I know. Oh, Bradford drew. Sorry, it's because I get Liam Chew's version of events, and I
So
honestly
it might as well have been a defeat.
think that they'd got battered, quite honestly. The amount of meltdown. He was on a stag do in Benidorm, and yeah, so I
That sounds like a
apologise,
classy
but,
affair.
you know, at this point, it was as disastrous as a loss. Yeah, I mean, I suppose they're 9 points clear of Wrexham, but they've got 2 games in hand as well, haven't they? And
Yeah.
they won't be playing. Is it this week? When's the League Cup final or whatever it's called? The Virtue BDSM Papa John's final.
I will find out when that is for you. It's Birmingham and Peterborough. Is it
Peterborough.
not? Oh, 13th of April, that is.
Okay.
I did enjoy when
Derek.
County put the post out about the tickets for Peterborough being available.
Oh no.
For Peterborough away, and they said, "Oh, our tickets are going on sale to season ticket holders for our trip to Virtue Trophy finalist Peterborough." I was like, "Oh my god, we're getting to play the Virtue Trophy finalists."
15th in League One.
Yeah, I want them to take a leaf out of my book, you know, with the whole come on County into these Barry Fry, Exodus Gohagan bastards. I want County to do that. I want County to be like, our tickets are now on sale for our game against Barry Fry bastards Peterborough United. Take a leaf out of my book.
Speaking of DMAC, he on the what's
he likes us, doesn't he?
Called The Hard Truth. Well, Phil Iderson likes us. Don't know how DMAC feels, but he definitely doesn't. He said it was the worst refereeing decision he'd ever seen.
And that came out at the most annoying time because everyone had simmered down. Everyone had shut up about it. And then it just came back up again, which I suppose takes us on for. I think we'll probably do. I'm going to try and get a bonus podcast out there where we'll try and go into the accounts in a bit more depth with people who know about these things. But it's just reignited this whole thing of weirdness, like Wrexham fans going, "Oh, but Stockport are doing it the right way." It's like I don't think anyone's ever said that. I don't know of anyone who's gone, "Yeah, this is a fairy tale." Yeah.
The difference between us and Wrexham is that their losses will be bigger, but their income is bigger because of shirt sales and merchandise and all of this. And there were a lot of Wrexham fans and fans of other clubs today being very kind of sanctimonious about it. And
everyone's an expert all of a sudden.
Well, of course. And, you know, the rules have to change. Well, the rules are changing next year. Yeah. So, you know, owners can't put vast amounts of money into clubs. And the difference is that, you know, any cup revenue can only be taken, like converted across to like a certain percent. And so things are changing.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of the headlines that the club have put out there, obviously it seems like we've published basically the bare minimum of stuff, which is the club's right, I suppose.
Yeah.
So it's worth bearing in mind that the
full
figures that were
accounts
released
are available.
Full accounts are available should you want to. I was actually just looking for them when I got sent them before. It was really good timing. I was like, right, I'll find these sorted. And then then they arrived then they arrive in my inbox. Yeah, it did. I noticed the message came across as really sarcastic. I was like, that just happens sometimes. That's why I don't do adverts. So it's worth pointing out that before people say, well, we're meant to have spent this on February and this on Mingy. Why is that not in there? Well, it was to June, end of June 2024 it goes to. So income has increased to 9.2 million from 8.6 million. The operating loss has increased to 7 million from 4.7. Total assets have increased to 4.9 million from 4.1. Creditors due within a year has gone from 2.1 million to 4.8. Creditors after more than 1 year has decreased to 1 million from 7, which relates to the COVID loans.
Also the winter sport.
The winter survival one. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. And all outstanding loans to the club with the owner have been swapped to equity during the year, significantly reducing the club's overall debt. So we don't owe anybody 21 million. 21 million is the overall loss in the time that Stock's been here, which it's pretty alarming when you think about it. But this is what people wanted. It was quite clear this was going to happen, I think, when the takeover happened. When it's quite clear we've got a rich benefactor, then this sort of thing is going to happen. And we're getting to state, it feeds into what, not just from reading between the lines, but stuff that's gone on over the last year or so, like the emphasis in changing the transfer strategy for younger players who we can develop and sell on. So that, I mean, there's two saleable assets, certainly, who we won't be surprised to leave in the summer in pie and bait. And then it's just a matter of trying to develop these players. I think people expecting us to unearth someone from the academy and sell them for big money. I think we're a few years off that yet, because we've been playing catch up so much with the academy, because we had none for close to a decade. We had no academy, so it's going to take a while to get to the stage where, I know people tend to point to Pie as an academy product, but he wasn't. We signed him. Was it Rochdale? We signed him from. So
yeah. I think as well that, people talk a lot about sustainability and the risk of stock leaving or, whatever else. But he is very much an investor. He's investing he's a very, astute, very successful businessman who has invested his money both in the on-pitch stuff, but off the pitch as well. Dan was talking about all the community stuff. There is so much going on at the moment in terms of they're starting a youth club for girls on a Friday night. There's the kids, what's it called? The Kids Council. I don't think that's the specific term. There's all of the open door events that they run in the week that we've just seen Ed Powell particularly get recognized for, again, the community trust and people volunteering and giving up their time. But that comes at a cost to the club as well. They've got staff, they've got to promote it, they've got the overheads of opening up a venue and welcoming people in there and having security and things like that. And things like Kits by County, that was £10,000 of Stock's money that he put in. And at I should have said so, on Monday night I went to the Monday night. Was it Monday? No, it must have been Tuesday night. No, it was Thursday night. All rolled into one, but it was the High Peaks Supporters Club at New Mills Football Club, and Tony Hancock was there, but Steve Bellis was there as well, and talking about how Stott had got involved in the club. It was talking about his journey kind of from being marketing manager to being club president, and how much of Stott's involvement. He was saying that we very, very nearly were bought by Vincent Kompany, who had this approach of that he wanted to manage, but it's again very community focused, but Stott could put the money up in one go and kind of up front, and that was the direction that they went with. But it was very much for him about giving back to the town of Stockport, not just the football club. And at the moment, these numbers, at any given time are a snapshot. And we talk about this like in business at work all the time. There is a snapshot of a set of accounts that closed a year ago. There'll be things that happen just after, P&Ls and statements of accounts are also designed to be as transparent as they need to be from a legal point of view, but they definitely don't tell the full story. And he is an incredibly smart businessman. He recognizes his limitations. He said kind of fairly publicly, I think, that he doesn't have Premier League money. He'll need to get additional investment in if we progress beyond the Championship. And you can see as well, I suspect some of the decisions that have been made around the stadium expansion might be with a financial angle and concern. But we were saying earlier, one of the things that Simon Wilson says in his statement is that they've got this level or the costs that the club is accruing, and yet we're not passing that on to supporters. They're not putting the like the price of shirts. Bradford, I'm sure it's Bradford. They're ridiculous, like well over 65 quid. Whereas not only were ours the same price, but £5 from each shirt goes straight to Kits by County.
Yeah.
So, it's not only kind of keeping the costs the same, it's actually making a loss on the previous year. And I know that we have had a lot of shirts this season, and we've seen a lot of kind of promotions that we haven't seen in previous years in terms of the volume of them. But it's all part of a kind of commercial project. And yes, maybe we'll see season tickets go up more last season. They didn't go up that much this season, I don't think. Maybe it was about 20 quid. It wasn't something like that. It wasn't much. The challenge that we've got is that we are one of the more expensive teams. We don't have a cheaper season ticket and a more expensive, like wherever you sit in the ground, it's the same price. That's something that lots of clubs do. But also, some of the other clubs in League One and definitely in the Championship can charge a lot less because they have got much bigger stadiums. So it becomes a kind of like efficiencies of scale and benefits because they've got so many, like Bradford used to charge a pittance for their season tickets. Interestingly, Salford this season have gone up from, I think they were 15 quid last year for a match day ticket to 25 this year. And they've realized, I say this with no knowledge whatsoever, but I assume that they've realized that their gate is what their gate is. And, the price differential doesn't make any difference in terms of going up and down. Whereas we don't have that flexibility to play with because we're pretty much at capacity, and we're at capacity for season tickets. So at some point you have to put the horse before the cart in terms of that expansion, because without it, you can't get the additional revenue without passing it on directly to the supporters. And I think that's a real challenge commercially for them, because at the very least, we are a year off. Even if it started tomorrow, and it was never the plan was to start in the summer, wasn't it? I think the original plan was that the extension to the Bagara stand was going to start in January. And that was 300 extra seats. So I think it's hard to grow the match day revenue. It's other places that they need to look at it for. It'd be really interesting to see what happens.
I think as well, after years of all of years in non-league, like trying to scrape every bit of cash, selling players for like 35 grand to Filed or whatever, because it was the right thing to do to balance the books at the time. Mm-hmm. And now I think people think, because people look at how much Mark Stott's worth, and like you can say he's worth, is it 600 million or whatever? That doesn't mean he can go on his online banking and have 600 million. It's not how it works. A lot of it is assets and businesses and companies and that sort of thing. So I think people don't realize. So I don't think we've found. I mean, Wrexham have done it already, and their income dwarfs ours because of the sponsorship. And Wrexham have already brought additional investors in, so I don't think we're far off that. Whether it be just to help fund the running of the club, or if it's for any redevelopment, but I don't think we're too far off that now.
No, but it's all exciting, and it's I think it is done sensibly and sustainably, and it's. There's certainly no, frivolity in it, I don't think.
Yeah, it certainly seems like we've done a bit of there's definitely been a pivot, I'd say. Yeah. I'd say in terms of spending on the football, in terms of on the pitch spending, there's been a pivot since last summer probably. And then in terms of off the pitch and all that's like match day expense and stuff, that seems to have changed over the last couple of months or so. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
I think it will all come out And we'll start to see other people's accounts as well. So, you know, for perspective, Leyton Orient, the season that they went up, they made a loss of 3 million, and ours is on paper 7. But, you know, you look at the difference in terms of the project. And, you know, Leyton Orient's grant, like Brisbane Road, doesn't have the potential. They can't expand it anymore. There's, you know, they're kind of in a stranglehold almost, and are limited by the owners that they've got and the investments that they can make. So yeah, I think it's all proportionate.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, it won't stop. It won't stop fans of other clubs. I don't think I'm going to go commenting on other clubs' accounts, going, but it just seems to be the done thing. It's just reignited.
Did you know what really, the ones that really annoyed me the most were the, oh, well, Stockport, you know, good to see that they haven't learned from the mistakes and they're heading for another period of administration. No.
I certainly would not say. I mean, when stock does eventually sell up, which touch wood, it's not for a long time yet, he's going to be selling to. You know, there's going to be no shortage of takers this time round. Put it that way. So, do you think the club have sort of boxed themselves into a corner with this championship in 7 years thing? Because I think a lot, certainly at the time of the takeover, when there was rumblings about. Obviously, when Steve Bellis and George Hudson came back and Ryan McKnight was ousted, it was still in National League North, and then eventually they brought Jim back, and there was always whispers about we know we need investment to get back to the Football League, and there will be a takeover. But I think if you'd asked me at that point and said like, if we do get taken over, where do you want us to be? I'd have said League 1. And maybe the odd couple of seasons in the Championship. Similar to Peterborough and Rotherham. That's what I'd call our natural level. But I think it would have been easy for people to take the piss when Stock came in and said Championship in 7 years. But not only are we on course, we're ahead of schedule as well. But do you think saying it last summer was maybe a mistake? Because maybe people are... In the summer, whatever division we're in next summer, people are going to be calling for him to like spend big money. It's like, well, it's easy to spend other people's money, isn't it?
Right. And you know, maybe this is a wake up for the fan base as well, that, you know, regardless of anything else, we are heavily reliant on him as an individual. But I don't think we can have it both ways. I don't think we can, you know, bitch and moan about season ticket prices going up and, you know, pie prices and all of that.
Yeah.
And then be right, well, we need to spend 15 million on a Jay Stansfield to,
exactly,
to go up. So yeah, I think it'd be interesting next season. Well, you know, let's have this conversation again in God, it's only a few weeks, isn't it? And see where we finish up this season. I think it's good to have what are they called? There's a book, isn't it? Big Hairy Audacious Goals, BHAGs.
New one on me.
It's the business thing. But like having these, oh my God, having these like having big goals is a really good way to kind of demonstrate ambition, but at the same time, you know, communicate to your stakeholders that there's something to get behind and to have, you know, to have faith in. So I don't think it was boxing ourselves into a corner. I think it was just a realistic ambition, and you can see now how close we are to delivering on that.
Yeah, good. But it's a good place to wrap it up, I suppose.
It went quite serious for like the last half an hour. It was like it was fun and light-hearted before that.
Wow. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Oh well. Right, we will be back next Monday, where we will be talking Stevenage. We'll be talking Exeter. We'll be talking whatever else comes up.
Who's next? Peterborough.
Peterborough after that, yeah. I
So
think.
is that the short week? Is that the week with Good Friday in it?
Oh no, that might be later. I don't know. I don't know what day it is.
Hang on. I mean, other people know when the next kind of games are.
I'm sure people are aware.
Stevenage, Exeter, Rotherham. So we're
Rotherham
at Rotherham on the Saturday, the 12th of April.
And then it's the bank holiday weekend, Peterborough and Huddersfield. Yeah. Good. Well, we nailed that. Excellent work, everyone. Right. Thank you to everyone for tuning in and getting involved in the comments. Thank you to our guest earlier, Dan Moult, for joining us and having a fascinating chat about the park run and the whole community side of things. I can't wait to get off into the private chat after this and find out what's up with you, because very excited for this. Excellent. Right, we'll have a good old natter about that while no one's looking. Say goodbye to everybody, Hannah.
Bye.